श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपा परमेश्वर जगचार्य अष्टोत्तर सहस्रमंडल भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य शिल हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ राधा कुंज श्याम कुंज गिरिराज गोवर्धन की जय। श्री वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की जय। नवदीप मायापुर धाम की जय। पुरुषोत्तम श्रेष्ठ जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगा माई यमुना माई की जय। भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। पतित पावन हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। बृहद प्रसंगा की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्री पंच तत्व भगवान की जय। श्री राधा गोविंद भगवान की जय। आइलैंड मॉर्निंग प्रोग्राम की जय। सामवेद गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। तय गौर प्रेमानंद ऑल glories to the Summit Devotee. All glories to the Summit Devotee. All glories to the Summit Devotee. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Jagat Guru Sri Prabhupada ki jai.
नीला प्रभु
नमस्ते नरसिंहाय
नमस्ते नरसिंहाय
प्रहलाद
भगवान की जय। भक्ति शिरोमणि श्री प्रहलाद महाराज की जय। और
जय
वृंद्याय तुलसी दिव्याय प्रियाय केशवश्च विष्णु भक्ति प्रतिदेवी सत्यवते नमो नमः। वृंदाय तुलसी दिव्याय प्रियाय केशवश्च विष्णु भक्ति प्रतिदेवी सत्यवते नमो नमः। वृंदाय तुलसी दिव्याय प्रियाय केशवश्च विष्णु भक्ति प्रतिदेवी सत्यवते नमो नमः।
वृंदाय तुलसी देव्याय प्रियाय केशवश्च विष्णु भक्ति प्रतिदेवी सत्यवते नमो नमः।
नमो नमः। तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः।
तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः।
राधा कृष्ण सेवा पावो एई अभिलाषी।
राधा कृष्ण सेवा पावो एई अभिलाषी।
तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः।
तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः।
जे तुम्हार शरण लोए तार वांछा पूर्ण होए। कृपा कोरी कोरो तारे वृंदावन वासी।
कृपा कोरी कोरो तारे वृंदावन वासी।
तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः।
तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः।
मोराएरिया विलास विलास कुंजे दियो बास। नयन मेरी गोसावा युगल रूप राशि। तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः। निवेदन धर सखी अनुगत करो सेवाधिकार दिए करो निज दासी। तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः। तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः। दीन कृष्ण दासे कोए न मोरा होए। श्री राधा गोविंद प्रेमे सदा ये न भासी। तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पादे पादे यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पादे पादे यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पादे पादे यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि प्रणश्यन्ति यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पदे पदे यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पदे पदे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम दिव्याय प्रियाय केशवश्च विष्णु भक्ति प्रतिदेवी सत्यवते नमो नमः
वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशवसुचा विष्णु भक्ति प्रतिदेवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः
वृंदाय तुलसी दिव्याय प्रियाय केशवश्च विष्णु भक्ति प्रतिदेवी सत्यवते नमो नमः
वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशवसुचा विष्णु भक्ति प्रतिदेवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः
विष्णु भक्ति प्रदायिनी वृंदाय तुलसी देवी महारानी की
श्री श्री चैतन्य शिष्टाष्टकम की चेतो दर्पण मार्जनम भव विद्यावधू जीवनम आनंदम बुद्धिवर्धनम प्रतिपदम पूर्णम स्वादनम सर्वात्म सपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्ण संकीर्तनम् नाम नामधारि बहुधा निज सर्वशक्तिस् तत्रार्पिता नियमितस्मरणेन कालः एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवन् ममापि दुर्दैवम् ईदृशं इह जनीनानुराग तृणानपि सुनीचेन तरोरपि सहिष्णुनाम् अमानिनाम मानसेन कीर्तनीयः सदा हरि न धनं न जनं न सुन्दरं कवितां मां जगदीश कामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवतार भक्तिरहितु की त्वयि अयि नन्दतनुजा किं करं पतितां मां विश्वे भवाम्बुधौ कृपया तव पादपङ्कज स्थितधूलि सदृशं विचिन्तय नयनं गदश्रुधारया वदनं गद्गदहृदया गिरा पुलकैर्निचितं वपु कदा तव नाम ग्रहणे भविष्यति युगायितं निमेषेण चक्षुषा प्राविष्टायितं शून्यायितं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्द विरेण मे आशिष्यात्पादतां विनष्टु माम् आदर्शनां मर्मतां करोतु वा यथा तथा वा विदितातुलं पटो मत् प्राणनाथस्तु स एव नापरा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Ten offenses to the holy name. To
blaspheme the devotees of
dedicated their lives to forgetting the holy name of the Lord.
Second, to consider the names of demigods
Consider the names of the demigod like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal or to independent of the name of the Lord Vishnu. Third,
to disobey the orders of
the spiritual master. Fourth, to blaspheme the Vedic scriptures or the scriptures in the versions of to the Vedic version. Fifth, to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to the imagination. Six, to give some interpretation to the holy name of the Lord. Seven, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. Eight, to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in the Vedas as spiritual activities karmakanda. Nine, to instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name.
10. To not have complete faith in chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success. Krishna prema.
Who are just like desire trees, and they can fulfill all desires and are full of compassion for the fallen condition. So
we'll have group chanting till 7:15.
Yeah.
7:30. 7:30.
नहीं नहीं अभी देखो 30 मिनट्स हम करते हैं ना तो अभी 7:40 हुआ है तो
उस हिसाब से मेरे
7:50 हाँ
श्रृंगार अभी 7:35 करने हैं
रूप और करिए गुरु आरती गाने
कोई नहीं चलेगा कर देते हैं हिसाब से इतना होगा
निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चादेशकालीन जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत विभाग श्री वासुदेव गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे
मैं भी नीचे दे लो
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Om Vishnu Daya, Krishna Krishna, Vishnu Namaste Saraswati Devi, Nemo Shri Krishna Namaste Pascha Devi, Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Shiva Sadguru, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama. Namaha Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Namaste Dev Vishesha Shunadari Krishna Krishna Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram. Nama Om Vishnu Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna Shri Bhakti Namaste Saraswati गौरवाणी प्रचारम निर्विशेष शून्यानि पाश्चात्य देशदान जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत वेदांत श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Shrimati Mukti Swami Nityananda Namaste Saraswati Gauru Hari Krishna Dev Vishesha Shunyavala Pashcha Deveshataya Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Radha Radha Shri Vasari Gauru Bhaktan Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare. Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare. I don't ask them. You keep balance. Oh, it's very Ankita, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. No, you cannot count.
That's possible. Five completed. Yeah. I lost my count. I'm trying to do 21. Okay. I did 5 once again. I did 1 at home before getting here. So we did 5.
You have Sakshi Mala? You have Sakshi Mala?
No,
You don't? If I can find it there, I can find it.
that's okay. You can get it.
Yeah, okay. Om Shivaya Krishna Krishna Shivaya Swami Namaste Namaste Shri 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 Vashta Deshari Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Vaidya Shri Vasadi Gaur Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय श्रीला प्रभुपाद जय गुरुदेव जय गुरुदेव जय गुरुदेव जय श्रीला गुरुदेव जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय श्रीला प्रभुपाद केवल भक्ति शर्मा श्री गुरु चरण पद्मा केवल भक्ति शर्मा श्री गुरु चरण पद्मा केवल प्रसादे हे भवतो रिया Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine
जय ओम विश्वपातनां परिवेदिताय अष्टोत्तर सत्संगसने भक्ति विनाशाय मरासल प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विश्वपातनां परिवेदिताय अष्टोत्तर सत्संगसने भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। All glory to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
If you have to correct yourself. Thank you, Lord. Pumpkin class, no? Which character is it? Krishna. So we'll start with a small bhajan and then we'll start with the today's. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namah.
So, today we are taking Canto number 1, Chapter 2, verse number 17. Srinvatam Swakatha Krishna
Srinvatam Swata Krishna
Punya Shravana Kirtana
Punya Shravana Kirtana
Hridyantasto Bhadrani
Hridyantasto Bhadrani
Vidunoti Suhritsatam
Vidunoti Surutsatam
Srinvatam Swakatha Krishna
Srinvatam Swakatha Krishna
Punya Shravana Kirtana
Punya Shravana Kirtana
Hridyantostu Bhadrani
Hridyantasto Bhadrani
Vidunoti Shrutsatam
Vidyonti Surutsatam
Srinvatam Swakatha Krishna
Srinvatam Swakatha Krishna
Punya Shravana Kirtana
Punya Shravana Kirtana
Hridyantostu Bhadrani
Hridyantasto Bhadrani
Vidunoti Shrutsatam
Vidyonti Surutsatam
Srunustva Sokatha Krishna
Srinvatam Sata Krishna
Punya Sarvana Kirtana
Punya Shravana Kirtana
Hridayantasto Yavadrani
Hridyantasto Abhadrani
Vidhunoti Srusatam
Vidunoti Shrusatam Srinvatam Swakra Katha Krishna
Srinvatam Swakatha Krishna
Punya Shravana Kirtana
Punya Shravana Kirtana
Hridyantosti Abhadrani
Hridyantostu Bhadrani
Vidyuntostu Satam
Vidunoti Shrutsatam Srinvatam
Srinvatam.
urge to hear the message of
Those who have developed the urge to hear the message of
Swakatha,
Swakatha,
his own words,
in her own words.
Krishna,
Krishna,
the personality of
the
Godhead,
personality of God.
Punya,
Punya,
virtues,
virtues.
Shravana,
Shravana,
hearing,
hearing.
Kirtana,
Kirtana,
chanting,
chanting.
Hridyantasta,
Hridyantasta,
within one's heart,
within one's heart.
he,
He,
certainly,
certainly,
Abhadrani,
Abhadrani,
desire to enjoy matter,
desire to enjoy matter.
Vidunoti,
Vidunoti,
cleanses,
cleanses.
Suhrit,
Surit,
benefactor,
benefactor.
Satam,
Satam,
of the truth,
of the truth.
translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Bhaktivan Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada.
Jai.
Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul, in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee, who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Purport. Messages of personality of Godhead Sri Krishna are non-different from him. Whenever, therefore, offenseless hearing and glorification of God are undertaken, it is to be understood that Lord Krishna is present there in the form of transcendental sound, which is as powerful as the Lord personally. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Sikshashtakam declares clearly that the holy name of the Lord has all the potencies of the Lord and that he has endowed his innumerable names with the same potency. There is no rigid fixture of time and anyone can chant the holy name with attention and reverence at his convenience. The Lord is so kind to us that he can be present before us personally in the form of transcendental sound. But unfortunately, we have no taste for hearing and glorifying the Lord's name and activities. We have already discussed developing a taste for hearing and chanting the holy sound. It is done through the medium of service to the pure devotee of the Lord. The Lord is reciprocally respondent to his devotees. When he sees that a devotee is completely sincere in getting admittance to the transcendental service of the Lord and has thus become eager to hear about him, the Lord acts from within the devotee in such a way that the devotee may easily go back to him. The Lord is more anxious to take us back into his kingdom than we can desire. Most of us do not desire to go back to Godhead at all. Only a few men want to go back to Godhead. But anyone who desires to go back to Godhead, Sri Krishna helps in all respects. One cannot enter into the kingdom of God unless one is perfectly cleared of all sins. The material sins are product of our desires to lord it over material nature. It is difficult to get rid of such desires. Women and wealth are very difficult problems for the devotee making progress on the path back to Godhead. Many stalwarts in the devotional line fell victim to such allurements and thus retarded from the path of liberation. But when one is helped by the Lord himself, the whole process becomes as easy as anything by the divine grace of the Lord. They become restless in contact of the woman and wealth is not an astonishment, because every living being is associated with such things from remote time, practically immemorial, and it takes time to recover from this foreign nature. But if one is engaged in hearing the glories of the Lord, gradually he realizes his real position. By the grace of God, such a devotee gets sufficient strength to defend himself from the state of disturbances, and gradually all disturbing elements are eliminated from his mind. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurummilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Tatati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamshtam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhishcha Kripa Sindhu Yaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Kauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavani Paschate Vishuddharine. Hare Krishna. So last week we had Abhay Prabhuji, Abhay Giraj Prabhuji taking the summary of first chapter.
Yes.
So kind of this second chapter of the first canto, kind of you can say is the summary of what process the humankind must take in order to attain perfection in this Kali Yuga. Like it was one of the questions of the sages that what will be the best thing or the shelter to be taken after Krishna has gone back to his abode. As well as they asked what is the essence of all the scriptures. Then they asked what is one thing that they can do which will do good for people in general. So there were many questions. So this chapter where Suta Goswami starts to speak, we can see that many of the answers are being given in this chapter. And in one way, the essence of what one needs to do is given in this chapter. We can say it's kind of a summary of what we need to do. So this chapter, we can say we can probably memorize all the verses because it gives us the practical signs of what happens when we do devotional service. Often we think that, we hear, right, that agarbatti jala diya, raak ho gaya, mala jap liye, haath dukh gaya. But where is God, where is the process, where is purification? So this gives us the signs of what happens when we take to devotional service. So we don't need to worry about, many times people think that I will just follow the process and hopefully it is good to follow the process who are having faith. But often today's time is so misleading that people are told that you just follow the process and hopefully by the time you close your eyes in the end of your life, probably you will get to your destination. But here it is being told that we don't need to worry about the future because we are given perfect signs of what happens when we take to Krishna consciousness. In Bhagavad Gita it's told that Rajavidya Rajagoyam Pavitramidam Utmam Pratyaksha Avagamam Dharmyam. We can practically realize what happens when we take to devotional service. So that realization we can get when we understand this science. So this practical spiritual science, and that we can understand when we go through the scriptures. So in today's session we are going to see how purification happens when we take to the process of devotional service. Like I'll just read the previous and the next verse translation, it will help us more. So in the previous verse it says, O wise one sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all vice, great service is done. By such service one gains affinity for hearing the messages of Vasudeva. So when we serve the devotees of the Lord, we get the sukriti or the merits, or we can say mercy, through which we can get the taste for hearing. Like coming to Bhagavatam class and all those things, we are able to get that mercy. And then said that when we hear those, then what happens? Krishna himself cleanses our heart. And then in the next verse, it says, by regular attendance in class of the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. So we can see here that the main limb which is being focused is we serve Bhagavat. So there are two ways to serve Bhagavat. One is Pustak Bhagavat, which is by reading and hearing it, and another is Person Bhagavat, by hearing what he is saying as well as serving him in ways he expects. So these are the two ways we can actually do in order to progress spiritually. There are many other limbs, chanting and all, but main thing is Shravanam and Kirtanam and service to the pure devotees. These are the ways we can actually get purified. So here Prabhupada says in his purpose that there are many impressions. We'll go deeper eventually, but there are many impressions in our mind. So Prabhupada says that we had many births. As Prabhupada says, we had births in this material world since time immemorial. Let me know if I'm going too fast. So we are having birth since time immemorial, like we had millions, billions and trillions of births. And in every birth, we had attachment to wealth, attachment to family, and don't say that we should not have attachment to family. We need to have affection, we need to take care of them. But when we forget about God and we get attached to this world, that is when problem starts. Just like when you are taking water, if you drink in one day, if you drink 7 liters water, what happens? Do you know?
Lot of purification.
No, not at all. You die.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So in one day, if you drink 7 liters of water, it's said that you will die because your blood gets so diluted that you lose equilibrium of your electrolytes and you die. So anything which is done without proper guidance leads to issues. So Krishna has given us family, Krishna has given us wealth. They become an entanglement when you forget Krishna and engage in them. So in that process, what happens? Just like rope is there. Like rope, when you throw to someone, it can help you to catch it and hence come out of the place. But if you get entangled in that rope, then that rope will be the reason you will get more drowned. So in the same way, when family is given, family should be used. You need to give affection to your family, and you should engage yourself in Krishna service, engage them in Krishna service. In this way, all of them can become liberated. So affection is not wrong, but when you become attached by forgetting Krishna, that is when problem starts. Wealth is not wrong, you need to maintain your body, but when you don't engage your wealth in Krishna service, that is when wealth becomes also a illusion and burden. So we need to remember, when kuch chhodna nahi hai. It's not about leaving anything. It's about adding one thing, which is Krishna. When you add Krishna, then everything becomes pure. So that's why it's important that we include Krishna in our life. And how to include Krishna in this age?
Shravanam Kirtanam.
Shravanam and Kirtanam. Yes, chanting, of course, chanting Hare Krishna and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. So when we hear Bhagavatam and we chant Hare Krishna, in these two ways we can include Krishna into our life. And when Krishna comes into our life, everything becomes purified. And that is the way, that is the step through which we can get closer to Krishna and get free from the entanglements. So the main thing, that's the focus, is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. It starts with Shravanam. So when we hear about Krishna, that is when the purification starts. Of course, when we chant and when we read, it's said that we need to chant, we need to read. So everything is there. But when we start hearing about Krishna, Bhagavatam class and everything through other senior devotees and sadhus, then that is when the real purification starts. Like when we see here, that what is the mechanism that the purification happens? Like the speaker is speaking Bhagavatam, okay, fine. So when the speaker is speaking sincerely and the listener in the audience is hearing attentively, then what happens? As it's told that it should be offenseless. So when we are completely focused on Krishna, when the speaker is completely focused on glorifying your God, rather than doing anything else, and the listener is hearing about God, then what happens? Krishna himself descends because he sees that there are people who are interested about me. Then Krishna is like, okay, let me come to give them mercy. And then when the listener is hearing attentively, then what happens? The sound vibration from the speaker goes into the ears of the listener, obvious. So then what happens? From the ear, it's told in the Shastra, there is a direct connection between the ear and the heart. Maybe not biological, but spiritually there is a connection. Like subtly, there is a connection. Like for example, let me tell you, like there are neurons in our body. Let me show it scientifically. So the neurons are there in the ear. So that neurons catch up our sound vibration, and then what happens? They teleport it or carry it to our brain. So this brain is gross form, right? It's the gross manifestation. We can see the brain. So, and we have subtle body as well. So this brain and the mind, this gross and the subtle body get connected directly in this place of the mind or brain. So it is this place in the brain. Of course, we have the subtle body throughout our body, but the main fusion happens in our brain. So in this brain, we have mind as well as the intelligence. So usually the concentration of mind is more here, hence we put tilak here, and intelligence is here too, so we keep shika here. Because through that Sattva increases. So in this place what happens? The sound which we heard comes to the subtle body, which is the mind, and then from the mind what happens? It carries to our soul through the medium of consciousness. So that's why when the consciousness is there, consciousness from our ear carries it, takes it from to the brain, comes to the level of the mind, and then comes to the soul. So hence there is a direct connection between the ear and the soul, and there are many more things. So in this way, whatever we hear is going to have direct impression on our mind. So whatever we see, whatever we hear, everything, but majority of the impressions are whatever we hear. Hence it is important that when we hear attentively, automatically our consciousness gets purified. So what happens? And there is an art to hear. How we should be hearing it? That when we hear something, then it comes in Shastra, Nidhi Dhyasanam. Many times I have heard in the lectures. So how to do Nidhi Dhyasanam? Nidhi Dhyasanam means when we hear something, we do it, we might have done it in our college times also. So when someone says something, then what we do? We hear it attentively. Then what we do? We contemplate on it. That okay, what this person has said, and we try to take notes. So and then what we do after taking notes, we try to see how is it relevant in my life? How can I connect it in my life? If I'm not able to connect, then it will be like, it will be a bouncer. So I won't ever understand it. So that time I can ask questions that how to understand it practically. So in that way, what happens? You can ask questions and then try to connect it practically. Okay, I understood the philosophy, but how is it relevant practically? And then when it is practically understood, I can try to relate it with my life and try to see it around my, whatever is happening around me. So in this way what happens, the philosophy which we hear doesn't just remain a knowledge, but it should be converted into a wisdom. That is when we'll be able to see the value of spirituality. So a speaker says something, we attentively hear it, we note it down, we try to see it practically that what it really means, and then try to see it in our life and the world around us. So then we'll be able to see that this spirituality is not something mythology, but it is practical science. And then what happens when we are able to see that it's happening around me and it is relevant to me, I will feel inspired to work on it. And then when I work on it, then it's obvious that it's going to work. Just like, HCl plus NaOH, you mix it, you get H2O plus NaCl. So in the same way, when you see that there are experiments, there is theory that if you mix acid plus base, it gives salt plus water. You see that acid and base are there. I have one test tube and mix it. I see that the change is happening. So in the same way, when you do it and you see that it's really happening, theory equal to practical, then your faith increases. So in the same way, when we hear attentively, we see it happening around us, and then we live it, whatever the Shastra says, then we'll see the effect which happens, and then our faith in Shastra will increase. So this is most important. Because oftentimes what happens that we, by our pious nature, we are following things. But some people out of innocence, they don't know that how does it work, and they ask that you are following it, what is the value, why are we doing it? But when we don't have answers, then what happens that both of us remain confused, that should we do or should we not do? Which is not wrong, which questions are never wrong. But thing is, we never got an opportunity to know about them. But when we approach Shastra, when we approach Bhagavatam, we understand the science. So that's why asking questions is never wrong. So when you ask questions, that shows that you have something which you want clarity about. And when you ask questions and you get clarity, that causes increase in faith. Maybe the question is causing your faith to shake, but when you clear that question itself was the reason that your faith got deeper. So that's why it's important to address all your questions and your doubts and everything. So everything starts when we hear properly. So this was practical things, but now the spiritual dimension also comes. Okay, you heard everything. Okay, yeah, here I see practically and I try to implement. Okay, but where does real purification happens? When Krishna sees this was our effort, right? We heard attentively, we took notes, we tried to see it around, then I tried to implement it. So this effort in itself will not purify us. But when we do this effort, Krishna sees our sincerity. This effort is a proof that we are sincere about spiritual life. And when we do this effort, then Krishna, as said here, Krishna who is Paramatma in everybody's heart, he cleanses the heart of all material desires. So ultimately, how much can we clean our heart? We don't know what is there within our heart. So that's why when we are going to hear attentively, try to live the Shastras, Dharma Rakshati Rakshita. When you follow Dharma, then Dharma will protect you. So in the same way, when you follow the Shastras, when you try to hear from a advanced devotee or sadhu, and you try to serve him, then Krishna becomes pleased. And then what happens? Krishna within our heart will purify our hearts from all the material desires, and the desire to hear will come. And when we hear, then again we will try, Krishna will become more pleased, then he will clear more, then our desire will increase further. So in this way, it's an upward loop. So that's why it's important that we are going to hear it. Like there are many verses which has come. Like Krishna says that Ananya Shintayin Toma Ejana Paripasate Desham Nityabhiktanam Yogakshemam Mahamyam 10.9, 10.10, 10.11. So in this Chatusloki Bhagavad Gita also he shows that Tesham Sataduktanam Bhajatam Priti Purvakam Dadami Buddhiyogam Tam Enama Upayantite. I will give you the intelligence in order to come back to me. Tesam evanu kampartam aham agyana jam tama nasayama atma bhavastha jnana dipena bhasvata. I will clear the ignorance in your heart by lighting the light of knowledge. So Krishna says that if you are coming towards me, as we always hear, right? If you take one step, Krishna will take 100 steps. This is the proof he really takes. So when we simply attentively hear and we try to serve devotees, then Krishna sees that you are truly sincere. And then what happens? Krishna from inside our heart will give us the intelligence. Sometimes it happens, right? We see in the pictures and all that suddenly a person is thinking and suddenly the light bulb is glowing. So that happens because what happens? We are trying to think what is the solution. And when Krishna sees that he is very sincere, especially in spiritual aspects only. So what happens? That bulb's light somewhere it needs to be there, right? So that what we said that switchboard is there in our heart with Paramatma. We don't have that switchboard. And when Krishna sees he's sincere, Krishna will turn it on and the bulb glows. So and this is given in 15.15 also. That Aham Sarvasya Prabhuva, not that. What's that? 15.15?
Hridesh Sarvasacham Hridesh Sannivishto.
Yeah. Sarvasacham Hridesh Sannivishto Matasmriti Jnana Apavanam Cha Vedesa Sarvar Aham Vedya Vedanta Kripeta Vidyeva Cham. That from me comes intelligence, knowledge and forgetfulness. So when we are trying sincerely, this is what Krishna does. He cleanses our heart from all the material desires which are coming in our way, and he purifies and gives us the intelligence by which we can come closer to him. So this is how Krishna interferes into our life. So oftentimes we can think that when challenges are coming, we often think that when challenges are coming, obstacles are coming, maybe Krishna doesn't want me or God doesn't want me to come closer. But we need to understand that these anarthas or our lifetimes of impressions in our mind often creates barriers or obstacles in our life. Externally as karma, internally through our mind, it often creates barriers and we face challenges. But if we stay persistent, determination, then what happens? By hearing and following the Shastra, then what happens? Automatically the problem gets solved and then we'll be able to see the hand of God. So if you want to see the hand of God, if you want to see how spirituality works, if you want to see how Krishna is interfering in your life, then even if the challenges are coming, we should not give up. This is the important thing. Because when we give up, that probably Krishna doesn't want, or probably I don't know whether the process is bona fide or whatever, then what happens if we shuru hote hi khatam kar denge, then we won't be able to see the effect of the process. Krishna is trying to see how much sincere we are. So success or failure doesn't matter. If you stay in the process, then that is just going to purify you and your faith will increase. Externally, people might think that even you are a devotee, aapke sath aisa kaise ho gaya? But it's you, the devotee, who will see that what Krishna is doing with you. Like for example, I'm not able to immediately get some example here. For example, like some people might say that you tried your best. For example, you tried to learn some new skill, and probably you tried hard, you learned everything, you got 80% for after studying for 12 hours, but unfortunately someone else got 90% for studying for 2 hours. And we are like, "Arey bhai, you did so much, what's the use, what's the point?" But at least that now there are two choices. Okay, because I did so much and I got just 80. He just did this much and he got 90. So I will stop studying. Many people have that feeling. So in that case, you lose the path. But in that, if you are going to stay in the path, having the faith that okay, I did my best, I got 80. Let me try the next time. And then what happens? Whatever knowledge which I gained, whatever realizations and experience which I had, it will act as a platform. So next time I can actually perform better. So in the same way, it is only you who you can see that what is happening with your life. Externally, people might not know. Like even me, I don't know what's happening in your life. What is Krishna's plan for you? But if you are going to stay in the process steady, then what happens? Then you yourself will realize that what's happening in your life, how much progress you have made, and how Krishna is reciprocating. So that's why this is a personal science. We don't need to depend on anybody's validation. Of course, we need to get guidance, but we should not accept anything blindly. We don't need to worry whether Krishna is reciprocating or not. So the only thing which we need to do is hear attentively, serve the devotees, and even chanting is what? When you chant, you are going to attentively hear. So that's why if you are going to hear attentively, and that taste will automatically come when you serve the devotees. So when you serve the devotees, your taste for hearing will increase. When you hear more attentively, then you become purified. So automatically service desire will increase. So everything happens automatically. So the main thing is attentive hearing, taking of the notes, and by that process what happens? Your purification automatically starts. So this is the most important thing that one needs to do. Any doubts still here? Anybody understood anything? Was I too fast?
No, it's good.
Give an example of that.
Yeah.
Once a Scottish were fighting the English,
Mm-hmm.
and the Scottish were losing, and the leader, Robert Bruce, he went into a cave and did not know what to do. He had to think about a way of trying to beat the English. He was sitting in the wall, then he was looking at this other side of the wall, and he saw the spider going up and coming down, up and coming down. Eventually, by the ninth try, the spider reached the top. And that gave the incentive that he must keep trying. And he went and then defeated the English.
Yeah. Exactly. Thank you so much. I never knew it was Scotland, so thank you for that.
I have one question. If you're taking questions now, or we can ask.
I will probably
later.
10
Yeah.
minutes. So the main thing is that, and we are doing this, okay, so we can do it. So there can be some obstacles which will come in our path. So the main obstacle which comes in our path is I know syndrome. That I know already. We might have heard about Putana Katha, we might have heard about Govardhan Lila or whatever. We might have heard it many times, and then you might feel, I know it. Krishna left it in his finger 7 days, then Indra came and then everything happened. I know everything. So when either we might not even come there, or even if we come, we'll be like, I know what the speaker is going to speak next. So when we do this, then what happens? This is how the mind works. We should not beat ourselves up, but we need to see where the problem is. The problem is our mind blocks our consciousness by saying that I already know it. And when we think that we already know it, subconsciously what happens is, in our consciousness, we think there is nothing new to gain. And when we think there is nothing new to gain, which is what we often hear, that when the the tumbler or the container is already full, you can't add anything new. And due to this, what happens? There is not much. There is some purification, but not much purification which happens. Like I had the experience that whenever I hear something, the same lecture again and again, then what happens? I get some new realizations. What happens is when we think that I know, which the mind often tricks us, then that gem gets lost from us. So that's why it's very, very important that we always stay enthusiastic. The problem with I know syndrome is there is, for every symptom there is always a root cause. So the root cause of I know syndrome is lack of enthusiasm. So often it happens that Janmashtami hai, Radhashtami, Narsimha Chaturdasi, everything is put in a loop now. I know, okay, first Natyanantaradarshi will come, then Gaur Purnima will come, then Janmashtami, then Radhashtami, then okay, then again it will start, then Christmas New Year, then again it will start. So kind of we become, at one stage we become habituated. So, and we know that in Gaur Purnima we hear about Gauranga Mahaprabhu, not anything different. So in this process what happens, we become kind of familiar with the process. And when we become familiar with the process, then our enthusiasm goes down. And then when our enthusiasm is not there, then we feel that there is nothing new for me to learn. And then automatically then everything, again a downward loop. Enthusiasm is down, I know syndrome. And I know syndrome, it will further push the enthusiasm down. So that's why it's important that we always stay a student. We hear, right? So when we always stay a student, then what happens? You never know what new gem you will get. So, and you might have some doubts, right? It's not that whatever lecture is happening, exact same questions you need to ask. Of course, it needs to be somewhere near the context, or sometimes out of the context is also fine. But when you ask your doubts, then what happens? In that context, you never know, you might learn something new. So when you always remain eager to learn, that is when, again, this is how Krishna again reciprocates. Then even though the lecture is same, the pastime is same, then Krishna gives you the intelligence that through the lecture you will get something valuable. You will get the gem, you will get the answer for the problem you are looking for. So that's why when you remain enthusiastic, then answer for your problem comes. How? Then Krishna gives you the intelligence, and whatever you hear, you are able to interpret it. Oh, so in my life I need to do like this and like that. So Krishna will give you the intelligence. So the main thing is, when we always stay enthusiastic, then what happens? We will always stay completely absorbed. We will be able to get that gem. For example, in hearing, the best practical way to understand we are enthusiastic is, we are present before the lecture and we stay till the end. So that's the proof that we are enthusiastic about hearing. And chanting, when we are in a mood, in a right mood, that now I'm going to chant, not that we directly put our finger inside and then we start chanting. Obviously it will be difficult, our mind will roam because it never entered the mood. It will take time, it's a step-by-step process. But when we enter the mood and proper room, proper place, proper time, and we start chanting, then proper posture, so how much ever we can do. So in that way what happens? Then we enter the mood, and hence that is how it shows that we are enthusiastic for chanting. So enthusiasm means we take certain efforts so that that process will happen properly. So if you are coming before time and we stay till the end, that means we want that our hearing should happen properly. So when we are taking endeavors or effort that things should happen properly, by default we will learn something out of it. Whether outcome success ho ya na ho, whether it is success or failure, we will actually feel that experience happening. Like for example, I had the experience that in my personally, I studied SAP a lot. Some people might be from IT background. So I studied SAP technology and in my college, and I went to the company and I said, I know SAP, so I can do this, I can do that. I was selling myself. And they seemed happy and they selected me finally, myself and my friend. We both did SAP, and then what happened? The result came, in the sense our placement. So all were selected, many of our friends, and we too were also selected. And we too were given the position of Pune in Maharashtra, and rest all were placed in Mumbai. So we were thinking, okay, probably we'll be getting that SAP technology specifically. But what happened was, our friends in Mumbai got SAP, we got ASP. So you were like, why is this happening? I put a lot of efforts to learn the technology. I learned the technology also very well. And then they put me into this technology. okay, then I said, okay, let me accept it and let me learn from it. So when I learned from that, then what happened? After 5 years, I realized that that ASPEC technology which I learned here in Dublin, because of that I got my job. So it's not that, if things don't work in my way out. So this is just an example. So the essence is, maybe that things don't go my way. It might feel like it's a failure. But if I don't lose enthusiasm, maybe someday I'll hear the lecture, I might not get something valuable gem, maybe in that immediately in that 1 hour, half an hour, 1 day or 2 days. But if you stay enthusiastic, if you stay with the process, then just like that, it took me 5 years to realize that that was a plan behind it. So if we just stay enthusiastic in the process, have faith, again, not blind faith, have faith, then what happens? Eventually, everything, comes into that place. Like when we play jigsaw puzzle, we have some parts here, some blue color here, some green color here. We try to connect the same colors. Then finally, when the colors are connected, we try to connect each and every color by seeing the borders. Somehow we do something, and then finally, when the picture is complete, then we realize, acha, this blue color was for lake, this green color was for leaves. So in the same way, in our life, oftentimes what happens? Why certain things are happening, we might not be able to understand. But when we stay in the spiritual process and when we hear attentively, enthusiastically, eventually what happens, whatever has gone inside, eventually what happens, the right things eventually comes out and comes out as realizations or insight or intuition. So hence it is important that we hear attentively. Like I was about to say something, that oftentimes what happens, that we don't get that insight or intuition outside spiritual process, and that's why what happens, or we can see that many people are bewildered about what to do in life. Often we think that, what is the point, or am I good enough? So we face so many struggles outside because we are not getting this spiritual strength, this spiritual knowledge. Until and unless we get the spiritual knowledge by attentive hearing, our foundation in our heart will not be firm. And unless that formation or foundation is done, we won't know what to do, what not to do. Then whatever we will be doing, maybe it might be wrong and it might create more trouble for us. So our action itself might, create more problem, and there won't be anyone to guide us, just like Krishna would be guiding us from inside. So when we do spirituality, we ourselves will know what is right and wrong. That is what many people are searching for. What is right, what is wrong, what is the purpose of life, how to find happiness. People might not be asking, but they are searching for it. So when we come in spirituality, we understand what is the purpose of life, and doing that, what happens, our foundation is built, and then at the right time we get the right insights and realizations coming from Krishna himself. So that is how purification happens. And in this way, when we stay enthusiastic, determined and patient, as I said, we might be doing this process, and it takes one moment to finally realize what ultimately pure devotional service is. For that one moment, we are doing all these things. So eventually, when that right time comes, we'll get the right intuition, we'll get the right intelligence, Krishna will reveal, and then it will be the perfection of life. So we need to be enthusiastic, determined, patient, and all those things. I won't go deeper. It comes in nectar of instruction. So if we just follow this process, stay in association of devotees and follow the process, then everything will happen. So important of hearing. That's why it said hearing is the watering of our plant of bhakti. So when we hear attentively, then Krishna himself will cleanse us, and even the devotees who is speaking, the sadhu, will become happy that this person is hearing. So automatically all the perfection comes. Not just spiritually, materially also everything gets sorted. You get proper realizations, and above materially, spiritual life also gets sorted. So that's why it's important. If you want benefit for yourself, Prahlad Maharaj says that whether it be benefit for your own self-interest, or if you want to benefit by pleasing the Lord, the best thing you can do is hear Bhagavatam and render service to devotees. That will give perfection for us in all spheres of life. So we don't need to worry about anything. So that is why it said that Bhagavatam, what is the shelter which we need to take? That is Srimad Bhagavatam. What is the thing which will do good for people in general? It is Srimad Bhagavatam. And what is the essence of all scriptures? Hearing Bhagavatam. So this is the essence which Suta Goswami has given in the second chapter of the first chapter. Yeah. So is there any questions then we can take, or if there is anything? Yes.
my Guru Nanak is Krishna Swami. In YouTube, he wrote a special article, and he heralded distraction. And gave many examples of distraction,
Yeah.
because that is one of the cause of a downfall in a person.
Yeah.
He listed them all, so distraction is very important in the sense that we should keep away from that. And this, yeah.
Distractions. You can see in the 10th verse, 1:10, that the problem in Kalika is we are often distracted. That's how the mind tricks us. Thanks so much. Swami.
And any little thing can make it get distracted.
Yeah.
The slightest thing.
Yeah. Well, notification is now. So, anything else you had some doubt?
Yes, Babu, I had, but I think you already answered it. But I'll still say the question and let me know if my understanding is correct. My question was that from what I could understand from this lecture, the main thing out of this is attentive hearing. And my question is that what happens when what to do when our mind is not, like, there's a lot of distraction, a lot of thoughts, and not in the mood of attentive hearing. I think your answer to that was be enthusiastic, is it?
Yeah, you can do enthusiastic and pull the mind again. Abhyasana to kauntaya. So even like it comes in our, I heard in one lecture that we hear, right, that it is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. So often our mind wanders. That is fine. There are two things, that if you are chanting and your mind wanders, which is natural, and if you at a certain stage you realize it. And then after realizing it, if you pull it back, although it's still inattentive, again the mind will go. It's not that it has come, it will stay. It will again run. You have to again pull it back just like a child. So again it will run, again you pull it back. But at least if you are doing this effort, as I said, if you are doing that endeavor, that shows you are sincere and enthusiastic to chant. That although this mind is troubling me, I will still do it attentively, because Krishna has told that I need to be attentive. So when we attentively try to chant, then Krishna sees this and purification still happens. Although it's not offenseless, or I can say although it is not pure, but Krishna sees your endeavor and hence sincerity, and hence still the purification will happen. But if the mind is roaming there, that okay, it's gone to UK, it has gone to Spain, and then you are doing the plans of, in June, let me book the tickets and book the visa, then obviously Krishna says that he's not at all inclined to chant. That is when the real offense happens. That the mind is wandering and you are going with him to make the plans. So that is where the real problem is. If you pull the mind back, then purification happens. So yes, so ultimately yes, we need to stay enthusiastic, and enthusiasm means you are endeavoring. Whatever the right thing to do, you are trying to do that.
Thank you so much.
And the kind of desire to do.
Yeah, it's the desire. Yes,
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
starts with the desire.
Yeah.
So when we desire to do, then what happens? We think how to do. Then automatically we'll ask someone who is doing that already. And then when you ask them, they will give you certain tips and tricks, practical things, and then you will start doing those practical things. So yes, everything starts with the desire. That's the sign of enthusiasm. Yeah, thank you. Anything else? Has any question?
Okay, I have one question. So thank you for the wonderful class. I can correlate many things, whatever you told. So I have one doubt, like how to know, you said like to serve the pure devotee. So how you know or determine that whom I am serving is a pure devotee, or any I can, whatever opportunity I am getting, serve. Like,
So Prabhuji, it's as in second chapter Krishna, Arjuna asked the same question. So he's asked Sthita Pragya. So when we say pure devotee means Sthita Pragya, means he is completely stable and beyond the modes. So that person, Arjuna asked that how does he speak, how does he sit, how does he walk? So that means what does he speak, means what are the things he is speaking when his mouth opens. How is he controlling his senses, how is he engaging his senses. So first of all, what is he preaching? Whatever he's speaking, how much aligned are they with the Shastra? So, and is he speaking something else except the Shastra, and whatever, credibility of his speech based on the Shastra. Then second thing is behavior. You can speak many things, but how do you act after speaking all those things? So what you speak and how credible is your speech, then how is your behavior compared with that speech, and then hearing about them from other people who have been with them. So with these three things, we can understand that how much is he a pure devotee. And these are the three main parameters through which we can understand.
But Prabhuji, like as you said, Shastra, we also don't know like whatever he's speaking, how we can validate whether he's referring to the correct points, like whatever there is really in the Shastras, because we cannot validate. Whatever we are hearing for the first time, we know he is going to be in correct sense. How to determine that?
So Prabhuji, like Prabhupada gives an example that if you want to admit your child in the school, you won't go to a medical shop. You need to know that there is a school, in school there is a principal, I need to ask the principal. So we need to have basic preliminary knowledge about what spirituality is. Because we have faith, that means we have done spirituality before. And because we have done spirituality before, we have some basic idea. So, whoever is new, maybe he would have done bhakti in his previous life, but generally they don't directly ask about who is a pure devotee. They first come to the temple, they take darshan of the Lord, then they speak with other devotees. It's natural, nothing is wrong. Then eventually they start a spiritual practice, and when they start practice, they also hear about some lecture, Iskcon, Bhagavad Gita, etc. And then through that process, eventually, they engage in service. Devotees say, okay, he's coming for some time, let us engage him. And by engaging in service and hearing and chanting, he realizes the potential of this process by hearing, oh, this is so relevant. He will ask doubts, he will see how much relevant it is, and then once he becomes serious about it, then he will start asking who is a pure devotee, etc., whom I need to take initiation. So, in this process, he has already learned a lot of things, and through that, you can understand what is the essence of scripture. If we see, it comes in our Mahatmya of Bhagavad Gita, our Gita Mahatmya by Sripad Adi Shankaracharya. He says that all the Shastra are like a cow, and the essence, that milk, the essence of cow is milk. So the milk is like the Bhagavad Gita. But who can churn the milk out of that cow of Vedic knowledge? It is only Krishna. So the cowherd boy, Gopal, comes and churns the milk out of the cow. But the cow doesn't give milk unless his calf comes to take the milk first. So Krishna made Arjuna the instrument to just come and drink the milk, and then he removed Arjuna and the calf, and then he took all the milk, so that we can learn the knowledge. So the essence of all knowledge is Bhagavad Gita. When we read, hear Bhagavad Gita, we get the essence of all, main essence we know now, practically what spiritual life is, what I need to do, what I need to see in others. So when we understand Bhagavad Gita to whatever extent we can, under the shelter of senior devotees, and we also do the practice practically, which is as Krishna says, Satatam Kirtanitama, so we are chanting. Then Krishna says that take shelter of my devotee, 424, that Jnanina Tattva Darshina. So we take shelter of devotee. So seeing all this, what happens? We know what spiritual life is. We are practicing spiritual life. We know in essence what a pure devotee is. We will have these doubts. If we are thinking who pure devotees, we'll ask our senior devotees also. They will also share their experience, and through this we can come to an idea of who pure devotees. Ultimately, we can't realize it ourselves. So, as I said, this is our endeavor. Now comes the spiritual side. Now Krishna has to do his part. So then, as we know, we don't choose Guru. Guru chooses us. True. So then, after we have done all this part, which is just 0.00001%, then Krishna does the rest, which is he takes us to the Guru, or the bona fide devotee of the Guru. So Krishna does the remaining part.
Thank you.
It's a step-by-step process,
Yeah.
and you have to stay steadfast and be on course.
Yeah.
That's very important.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely. Step by step, yes.
Yeah.
No hurry.
Yeah.
So if we don't hurry, then we reach hurry.
Haribol.
So when we follow the process without taking shortcuts, shortcuts anywhere shortcuts are actually dangerous. Okay, in roads we can take if you want, but in studies or spiritual life, it becomes a problem. So when we do the process properly, actually when we take the main road, what happens? There are many gems, many understanding, many realizations we get. So if we just trust the process and follow the process, then what happens? Even externally, it might seem that I might have failed. We have a fear of failure, which is not wrong. Even I also fear. But when we go through that process, without obsessing about success, then what happens? In that process, we'll get many realizations, many experiences, many gems, which will help us in becoming a better person ourselves. It will help us to guide other people as well, and next time we can perform better. Problem is not failing. The problem is if you're failing in the same place in the same way. If you're failing better, that is also progress. We need to see that. We are seeing as 0 and 1. Means failure is 0, again fail 0, 0, 0, 0. It's not like that. It's actually 0.1, 0.3, 0.7. So actually there is a progress. If you are going to see that shade of grey, that how much better I have failed and what new thing I have learned, then actually we want to see, failure won't feel that much of a burden again for us. Yeah, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
In modern times, if you want to go from A to B, and you don't know how to get there,
Yeah.
you use Google,
Yeah.
Google Map.
Yes, ma'am.
Why not done?
Yes, Prabhu. Prasad was ready.
So, Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Jai.
Guru Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai. His Grace Girdhari Prabhu ki.
Thank you very much, Babaji. Thank you.